So the internet has changed the way businesses and customers relate in completely new ways, and that has been going on for decades. But in the last 10 years, the way innovation happens has changed again. And we have moved from very sort of simple, more linear value chains in which communications played a facilitating role to now more network types of innovation. As a result, there's multiple types of innovation that coexist in the digital space. Some are sort of the old type, where somebody on the edge of the internet comes up with a new application, those famous garage entrepreneurs, or the Facebooks when they were still young, or the Twitters when they were still young. And then they launch this application on the internet. And in order to help these entrepreneurs, an open, transparent network is most conducive to achieve that goal. Because they don't have to worry about the technology of the network, they don't have to worry about the protocols. All they need to do is to design an application that can work with the standardized network. That's the old version of the best effort internet. And most people think there is this virtuous cycle between having an open, neutral internet and then those innovators who form this incredibly dynamic entrepreneurial ecosystem that has driven internet innovation for the last 2 or 3 decades. What this view overlooks to some degree is that there's also other types of innovation that don't follow that same logic. There's innovations, for example, that require that the network offers a certain type of quality of service support, which the current network can't do. The current network is a best effort network. So if there's lots of traffic, everybody's slow. If there's less traffic, everybody's packets move faster, for example. And these new types of innovations are probably very important going forward. We talk about the Internet of Things as one set of innovations that will be feasible. And one service in the Internet of Things world, for example, would be what is called microgrids, where individual energy users not only consume energy from an electricity grid, but they also they have solar panels or other types of generation capabilities. They also might feed electricity back into the network. In order to do so, you need extremely high quality network support because there's milliseconds really that make a big difference. And so the current network is not in a position to support these types of services well. And so innovations like this, or innovations related to autonomous vehicles, or innovations related to advanced health applications, they need a more differentiated network. And so there, this notion of a neutral network that offers the same type of service to everybody is in conflict with the conditions that are needed to support innovation. The first type of innovation continues to be important, but the second type of innovation, where you need differentiated network support, is becoming increasingly important. So going forward, we would need a framework where you have both an open network, but also the ability of the network operators to differentiate their services. And so where people currently are worried is that they fear that that differentiation would lead to discrimination. And that's really where policy should actually step in. They should create conditions that make sure that we can have both the open existing environment, that we allow differentiation, but we enforce sort of some non-discrimination standard, that whenever differentiated services are developed, they're not used to discriminate against free speech, or they're not used to discriminate against human rights. And that's currently both the proponents and the opponents don't see this clearly enough, right? They're all sort of stuck in their own world. I mean, the opponents of net neutrality, they see mainly those new types of innovations that need some kind of differentiation, and they are worried that the current framework slows those innovations down or prohibits them altogether, which is not an unreasonable concern. At least what it requires is that any of those innovations would have to go through prior regulatory approval, which is not how the internet has become so vibrant in the first place, right? There was no regulation. That was really the benefit of the internet, as opposed to the telephone or the broadcasting industries. And then the proponents of net neutrality only see that historical virtuous cycle between those high-level edge innovations and the internet. And that's a completely legitimate picture, but going forward we need actually both. Probably would likely change if the order passes, as is likely. And then if it passes court review, is that there will be new types of pricing models for end users, most likely. So network operators will start to bundle content services in different ways. They will work with content providers such as Netflix and others, Spotify, you name it. And there's already examples like this that we see in other parts of the world. It's in Portugal. There's one operator that bundles a music package and a video package and the news package. And so subscribers then can subscribe to like a base tier of internet service, which is sort of pretty low quality internet access. Essentially that tier gives you access to everything that is available on the internet. So that doesn't change, right? You still have access to everything, but that content may come slow. For an extra $5 or $4.95 you get the music package. For an extra $4.95 you get the video package. And it's not necessarily all the video content, but it's just a selected group of video players. It's a selected group of music players. You get for another $5 you get the news package. Again, a selected group of news sites. And so most likely then, the unrestricted, unfettered access to all the content on the web will be available, but it most likely be at a price that is higher than those specially priced packages. And in that sense, there may be a new form of exclusion based on the pricing, right? So that only those who have sufficient purchasing power to afford those packages can actually get access to it. And the one unknown variable that we can't anticipate what will happen, right? I mean, those markets are competitive, so it could well be that even though you have large players, like large network operators, large content providers in the marketplace, there could be a competitive rivalry among them, that those price increases will be fairly limited. But we don't know. Pro-market ideologues think that will not happen, right? And then those who are worried about it say, well, there will be massive price increases, and the reality is we just don't know. What we do know, though, is that if the FCC eliminates those non-discrimination rules, it will have very few tools left to do anything about it. That's a risk that comes with those changes.